Hi, I'm Kingsland, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the most revolutionary transportation devices of the world today. Anyone want to take a guess what it is? Oh, yes, it is a car, but more specifically, the engine within it, an internal combustion engine, the thing that powers the wheels on your car. It was invented by the creator and pioneer of locomotion, Nicholas Otto, almost 150 years ago. And that technology she invented is still being used today. To start your car in the morning, all you have to do is insert your key and turn. This may seem like a simple task, but in reality, it triggers a complex reaction of gears, pulleys, and a whole lot of boom. The internal combustion engine simply generates power by using the expansion of an air-fuel mixture in a contained cylinder. That's why they call it an internal combustion engine. But there are two types of this engine, gas and diesel. In the gas engine, as the gases are compressed at the top, a spark ignites the gases, expanding them and forcing the piston down. In a diesel engine, however, is a completely different principle, a principle you might have experienced. Have you ever used a bike pump to pump up a tire, and at the end you feel the pump getting hot? This is because pressure creates heat, and in a diesel engine, it compresses the gases so much that the pressure ignites the gases, expanding them down and pushing the piston down, creating power. Now, let's dig a little deeper into the mechanics and how an engine works. Here is an example of a gas engine and its main components. I'll start off by explaining the cylinder. The cylinder is what contains the gases and the explosion, forcing it down onto the piston head. The valves. The valves are what let the engine breathe. One opens to let new, fresh oxygen and fuel into the cylinder. After it is burned, the other valve opens and lets the exhaust gases be released from the cylinder. The spark plug. The spark plug is what ignites that fuel mixture, making that flame happen and forcing the head down. The piston head, I have one here, is what takes that energy from the burning gas, forcing down on it, and moves it down. This piston is in an airtight seal with the cylinder, so no gas or pressure is escaping from it. The head then connects to the connecting rod. The connecting rod takes that energy from the head and transfers it down onto the crankshaft. The crankshaft is the most important part of the engine. It not only does all the power from the engine go through it, but it transfers linear energy from the piston moving down into rotational energy of the crankshaft. That rotational energy is then ultimately transferred to your wheels and moving your car. Now I will explain a part of the engine that not all cars have, but it still is my favorite part of the engine, the turbocharger. But before I explain how a turbocharger works, I'd like to explain how it came to be. It all started back in the 1950s, when engineers found out that there was a huge loss. The exhaust gases coming out of an engine contained huge amounts of kinetic energy, and they were just throwing it away to the atmosphere. A complete waste. That's when a Swiss engineer, Alfred Bucci, stepped in. He invented the turbocharger. It was a way to harness back that lost energy and put it back into the engine to provide more power. The turbocharger's main job is to basically cram more air into a cylinder so more fuel can burn. And when there's more fuel, there's more bang. So I present to you a turbocharger. Ooh, I know, she's a beaut. So, how does it work? There are two main components of a turbocharger, the compressor and the turbine. The turbine works by taking the exhaust gases from the cylinder and putting it through it so the turbine spins at a high RPM, over 200,000. And since the compressor and the turbine are attached by the same shaft, they spin at the same RPM. So as the exhaust gases power the compressor, it sucks in huge amounts of air and compresses it to a higher PSI. From there, it sends it to an intercooler because, as we said before, higher pressure means more heat, and we don't want heat in an engine. So the intercooler cools the air down so it's more oxygen dense, then forces the air into the cylinder, giving the fuel more food to feed on and giving the engine more power. I hope you learned a lot, and you now know that there's more going on in a car than just a simple press of the pedal. Thank you, and as always, keep on learning and go fast. Thank you.